Chris Carrino and Tim Capstraw with you in beautiful, sunny Orlando, Florida, as the Nets ride into town. And Capper, Nets coming off that emotional win on Wednesday. They didn't travel right after the game, but if they were coming to Orlando right after the game on Wednesday, I don't know if they would have needed a plane.
No.
Because they were riding high. Everyone was. We were all buzzing, talking about it. What an incredible victory. We've done a lot of games together. That was a memorable win for the Nets.
Trying to think over our 17 years together, was there a more significant or a more, I think maybe there's been more significant victories, but to have that type of comeback, I think that's what's the identity of this team right now. They just don't quit on games, and it was 2 times, Chris, in regulation and overtime. You thought it was over, and they just found a way.
I said it at one point there in the overtime, after they had come back from the deficit in regulation and then facing the deficit in overtime, I said, I don't know how many miracles you could have in your pocket, but they had 2 of them left. And there's so many contributions. I mean, from Spencer Dinwiddie's 3 threes in the last 27 seconds, something that hadn't happened in the NBA since 2016, to Jared Allen, the Minko, 20 points, 24 rebounds, known at WFAN at 2020 is known as a Minko.
I love the Minko.
I love the Minko. And then, you think it's over when James Harden gets that offensive rebound, and it wasn't.
Yeah, just found a way, and then Dinwiddie comes down, nails a 3, gets it to overtime. And then you get down in overtime, and then Travion Graham steps. He played great all game.
Speaking of an offensive rebound, maybe the biggest offensive rebound of the season.
And then he gets it to Dinwiddie. He's able to get an and one. It was unbelievable. Damari Carroll was outstanding. And you know what else was underappreciated, or we don't talk enough? It was great coaching in that game, whether it be in the first half, mixing a little zone defense, second half. How about the double teams, getting the ball out of Harden's hands late in that game and then forcing somebody else? Even though he gets 58 points, they still forced Austin Rivers to take that last shot. I thought that was great. ATOs, which are after timeout plays, were outstanding to set up Dinwiddie on some threes. It was just terrific coaching all around.
And you know what you're pointing out, very reminiscent of what turned the season around with the game against Toronto, was a players-only film session after their loss against Memphis. When we spoke to Kenny Atkinson before the game on Wednesday, I asked him about the Celtic game, the way the Nets finished the Celtic game. Did it take away from the result a little bit? And he said yes, because the process right now is not about the wins and losses, but how we're going about the game. And he didn't like the way they finished that game, and he let him know in a very difficult film session right after that. And that was something that Damari Carroll pointed out to us after the game on Wednesday, giving Coach Atkinson and the coaching staff credit for going through that tape and pointing out the things they did wrong against Boston. That may have helped them get the win on Wednesday night. Now, another coaching point for Kenny Atkinson coming into tonight's game against Orlando is, how do you avoid the emotional letdown from such an uplifting win on Wednesday and keep it going against a very up-and-coming Orlando team that you're battling for a playoff spot?
Yeah, no, Orlando can play, and they beat, just in the last week, they beat back-to-back games, Houston and Boston, but they've lost games too, so they've been inconsistent, but they guard you. They're physical. Steve Clifford, we know well, is a terrific coach. They've got Vucevic is having an outstanding year. We know the athleticism of Aaron Gordon. You're right. This is about the Nets being ready, using that game as more of a springboard, and don't let down. Another minor point to that game, watching the enthusiasm on the bench of the reserve players is a joy to watch as a fan.
Well, we asked Kenny Atkinson about how you keep all these guys happy that want minutes, and he said, well, it starts with having good guys. And you could see that even a player like D'Angelo Russell, not in there in the fourth quarter and overtime, still really supporting his teammates, very enthusiastic on the bench. They all pull for each other, and that's what makes this a special team right now. They go for a win here in Orlando tonight. They've won 15 of the last 20 games. That's the Capper, Tim Capstraw. I'm Chris Carrino from Orlando, Florida.